The intention of most of my music is for it to sit in a museum eventually. I'm crafting a visual practice.
A couple of years ago, as a professor, you went viral because you put out this course about Kanye.
And I woke up that morning and my phone had blown up. Everybody called me, like TMZ called me, Newsweek called me, Time Magazine called me. I got a glimpse into what it's like to be Kanye. And then his team reached out to me. The whole purpose of this project for me, with the genocide that was going on in Gaza, I really started thinking about celebrity and the power of like centralizing artists and work, and it removes from the meaning of the art. So all the music videos that I put out from this project, I'm not in the music video. One of them was for the song Sword, which is based on Ghassan Kanafani's quote about the sword in the neck. The video takes place in the future, about 5 years from now, and how the ripple effects of something like that can bleed into other countries. And he makes a sword in the shape of Palestine and buries it in his home where his child was killed. The internet is an extension of our collective consciousness. Now, I'm a bit of a rejectionist. Whatever is popular, I tend to not be able to adhere to. You know, and ironically, I chose the name The Narcissist as an artist, but it's like, I want my art to stay humble and like free of any of what the world wants out of an artist.
You ain't gotta draw that sword alone.
Before we get started, please let's give it up for Narcy. He got here all the way. It is fantastic to have you here.
Thank you, bro.
So this is the second event that we're doing in collaboration with the Meme exhibition. And the goal is to basically try to look at different angles of internet culture with different types of people who care about the internet. Not in like a precious way, but care about sort of thinking about it as a visual culture, thinking about it as sort of like the raw ingredient. Some are academics, some of them are practitioners. And Narcy, some people know him as a rapper, but more than a rapper, I think you are as
Not a rapper anymore.
Yeah, you're not a rapper.
Don't call me a rapper.
But Narcy is a professor, is a visual artist, is a video artist, is just like a big picture thinker. To get started, basically, the title of today's talk is Keeping It Real, Deepfakes, Power, and the Internet. And the reason why that is the title is because of this video that I'm about to play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a bunch of videos to just get you started. Do you want to introduce this video at all?
I did this video in 2018, I think, when deepfakes first started. So I like to say that I made the first deepfake, I think it says it right there, first rap deepfake video, because right after this, a bunch of rappers use deepfake in their music videos. And I think the reason I did, usually people do it the other way around, where they insert famous people into situations that, putting famous people in their real life situations. Whereas with this video, I was commenting on the kind of the death of celebrity, and how like if you remove somebody's true likeness who's famous, it kind of makes the moment less meaningful. So putting myself in these memeable moments to remove the power of celebrity from them. So this was part of a project I did with a producer by the name of Thanks Joey. And together we call ourselves the internet's deep fake, as opposed to the infamous Mob Deep. And this is from an album called Meme Against the World. Hey guys, my name is Yasiin, but I'm commonly known as Narcy, and I'm gonna tell you how to make $1 million. You know how I did it? Why are you trying to skip the ad, man? Trying to give you some game. Actually, this is not an ad. Stop trying to skip it. Just watch the whole video. I didn't monetize this thing. Support independent artists. Like, what's wrong with you? I'm broke. I never made $1 million.
Smoking soon, might have to hang this mic up soon like Kulthum.
Salam.
Trumpets blow for the pulpit's doom. I need my flowers right now, all pulled in bloom.
Shukran.
It's just meme against the world, baby. Looking at this bad news will make you stir crazy. Can't even gather up the words lately.
Thanks.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is,
oh yeah, you got my thoughts and prayers. Your Twitter fingers too short to unbox your fears. I do this for my culture here and my culture there, so they know what it looked like when you ultra rare. And the truth is clear, nobody even really cares. Anybody stream. Understand what I'm saying?
You ain't got the answer now.
Thoughts and prayers, does anybody even care? The truth is clear, I feel like the end is near.
You know what I mean?
Thoughts and prayers, does anybody even care? Is anybody here? Yeah.
Ayy, hashtag Judgment Day. Got dragged on the net today. Deep fake on the love conveyed. These days you can't trust a face. All your posts online, they got me judging things. Offline temptation for the lusting beings. Churches burned down, we can bust with wings. What does it mean to discuss these things? I can see you envy our color. You can have it if you change your AVI color. Whole world with their eye on us. Scroll down, slow down, don't die on us. Feel like we moving at a mile a minute. Can't end another night without some violence in it. Follow your heart, watch closer than the algorithm. Can't be behind a fall out of rhythm. Whoa.
Thoughts and prayers, does anybody even care? The truth is clear, I feel like the end is near.
You know what I mean?
Thoughts and prayers, does anybody even care? Is anybody here? Yeah.
Okay. So you are acquainted with the sort of the energy. When you look at this now, maybe let's watch a few of them and then we'll do. I think that's a better. All right. Do you want to?
This one is, I just put out an album, this album actually called To Be an Arab, which is a double LP, an examination of an emotional man in an artificial world. And it's an album I put out through our bookshop, Mektaba in Montreal. It's only available on vinyl. So it's an album about digital life, but I never want to put it out in a digital platform. When people buy it on vinyl, they get a digital link that's private to listen to it if they want to stream it. And the whole purpose of this project for me, with everything that was going with the genocide that was going on in Gaza, I really started thinking about celebrity and the power of like centralizing artists and work, and it removes from the meaning of the art. So all the music videos that I put out from this project, which I put out, I think 5 of them now, and there's 28 songs. I'm not in the music video. One of them was for the song Sword, which is based on Ghassan Kanafani's quote about the sword in the neck. And that was the story of a man who lost his child in Gaza. But the video takes place in the future, about 5 years from now, and how the ripple effects of something like that can bleed into other countries. And he makes a sword in the shape of Palestine and buries it in his home where his child was killed. And then this video is stars AboodSkiba. If you don't know who AboodSkiba is, he's a kind of a viral sensation from Iraq who speaks gibberish English in a way. So we got in contact with him, and he's actually, I come to find out he's from Basra, where I'm from. And for me, part of the project too was like taking the money that I made from the project and putting it back into the creative economy in our communities of people who are underpaid or undervalued. So we paid him for 2 days, and my friend Tariq Turki followed him around. He just took him around basically, and none of this was scripted. We just let him direct the video in a sense. So I shot 2 music videos with him. One of them is The Narcissist, and this one is called Palm Trees, which is the romantic one, you know, so.
This is that grown man shit, a manuscript.
Desire.
I couldn't tell you what's wrong, so I'ma write you a song. Baby, we should be together. I miss you like the palm trees. I could be all season. Shorty on the beach with the calm breeze and the strong breeze, and I feel like they watch me. So I told her, don't bring your phone.
Please don't bring your
You should
phone.
go probably leave that home
Forever.
and come and put it on me.
To be an Arab, to
وخروا لي وخروا لي وخروا لي وبخروا لي وبخروا لي وبخروا لي لا تسخروني ومسخروا لي ومسخروا لي بصر روحي بصر روحي وصلوا لي بصر روحي بصر روحي رجعوني وخروا لي وبخروا لي
You are not okay.
Ooh, round with along me hell. I love you would along me hell. You run along me loud.
Contextually, like why AboodSkiba was interesting for me was like people in Montreal and in the West that saw it were like, what the they don't really understand what's going on. And for me, what he does is he transmutes English, and when asking him like where it comes from, he's like, you know, اتعلمتها من الأمريكان لما أجوا. And he was very young when the war happened. So there's a form of like a cultural erasure that occurred during the war, and he's in his comedy is doing the same back to American culture to what it did to our or it attempted to do to our culture. So I find him to be very political in nature, even though he's just being himself, you know. So him sitting in my music videos also speaks to that cultural translation between the two, you know, between hip hop and the Arab world, you know.
Okay. Let's watch.
This one I think play half because it gets really crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how controversial we can get. So this one is called Data Rights. It's about data rights. This is your brain. This is the internet. This is your brain on the internet. Any questions?
Look at my fit. I am legit. No matter how many likes you get, I am the threat. I'm zen in my zone. My life's Tibet. Whatever I've known is wrong. Some of it might be right, I bet. Fuck you, pay me, write the check. Energy, my life's the best. My right's a mess. My plights is fresh. Color in Canada, DMX. White and red, flesh of my flesh. And who remember Guantanamo? Now we got a problem cause we knock it down. And white men made out of stone. Everybody pulling out a phone. Somebody tell them we coming to get them. Everything has gotta go. Society is not a salad bowl. Pandemic, goddammit, broke. Can I borrow a couple dollar though? I'ma pay you back tomorrow, I promise. Can you make sure that you follow and comment?
It gets really crazy. So yeah. So that one was like me and my friend Abdurrahman, who's he goes by Abdulisms. Yeah, man, Iraqi legend, London based. We did an archive of like all the stuff that we consumed during the pandemic, and re-edited it into this music video about like data rights and kind of the ego that comes out of internet exposure. So.
Okay. Before we keep on going, I want to just ask you like a basic question. What do you think you most misunderstood about celebrity and internet culture, and what means to be so active publishing online and essentially being in the game of creating viral, even before that word made sense, trying to create stuff that is supposed to spread? What do you think you misunderstood?
I think, you know, when I put out my first solo music video, or my second one, it was Alhamdulillah, and that's my most viral music video. And I put intention behind it, not like attention wasn't the intention. and it went the furthest because it was natural and like spoke to a specific community at a specific time in North American history, and it carried itself. I never put money behind it. It was a song that lasted, and it's still going now for 14, 15 years later. So it's like my most viral song. And I'm a bit of a rejectionist in the sense that like whatever is popular, I tend to not be able to adhere to. So all my music videos were critiques on those moments in history that they were put out during. They were never meant to be viral videos, you know? And things that have popped out for me as an artist have gone off on their own. Like I've never really intended for them to. And I think that's how it works, I guess, right? I think how I would answer your question is that I never really had a strategy. And that's probably like my Achilles heel, my gift and my curse, is that I create very freely, but it hindered the attention that came to my work. But I'm not, you know, it's where I'm supposed to be, you know?
One of the things that we have up on the screen is like a couple of years ago, as a professor, you went viral because you put out this course about Kanye. And you're like, we're going to study almost the celebrity of Kanye and the musician, but as this like media entity, this like organism, and be like, all right, we're going to look at this guy as an artist, but also as essentially just as a me, the person as a thing. And then the fact that you were a college professor teaching that course went.
Yeah, it's crazy how it happened. A student of mine who had signed up, because, you know, I'm a part-time professor at Concordia, so I write my syllabus and the university doesn't really approve it. I go in with my syllabus and I start. I'm part of the professors union as opposed to the full-time faculty. I'm part-time faculty. So I had written this class about Ye, and I uploaded it to our Moodle, which is like our student like blog where we put all our info, and I had forgotten that I uploaded it. So a student tweeted, "Oh my God, I'm taking a Ye class," and they put the screenshot of our Moodle. And I woke up that morning and my phone had blown up, and like the tweet, she had put it 2 hours prior, it had hit like 150,000 views or whatever. And I was like, holy shit, I haven't even announced this, right? So I had to like quickly take screenshots of the syllabus and put it on my Instagram to like claim it, you know? So I did that, and then within 24 hours, you know, everybody called me. Like TMZ called me, Newsweek called me, Time Magazine called me, and they've never called me for my music, right? So like, yeah, now that I have your attention, I have an album coming. But you know, it's like, it was very interesting because I got a glimpse into what it's like to be Kanye or part of his team. And then his team reached out to me and was like, oh, what are you doing? What is this about? Like, you know, TMZ was asking about Pete Davidson. Like, are you going to teach about Pete Davidson? I'm like, no, I'm in a university setting. I'm not TMZ, you know? And I got to shape my syllabus around this idea of, like, what is culture? What is celebrity? What is, you know, we went through all his, like, cancelable moments and then watched all the apologies. And then in week 5, he tweeted, I'm going DEFCON 3 on all the Jews. And then I got the other spectrum of phone calls, which was, what are you doing about his anti-Semitism, right? And then my class Discord got doxxed by the press in Canada, and I'm one of the most pro-Palestinian professors at the university, if not the most. Some like Zionist student groups started complaining about me to the Rights and Responsibility Department, saying I did things and said things that, you know, October 7th hadn't happened yet. So this was prior to everything. And it was, so I had to deal with that. Like, and then they started coming to my class, and it became this like crazy whirlwind. And then the university was like, you know, at first they offered me an award because I got them $1 million press junket. And then after that, they were like, you know, I don't think we can give you the award anymore, and I don't think you should teach this class anymore. So then I did a class about Kendrick, and then that one went viral. And then I did a class about Chappelle, and that one went viral. And then after that, I was like, I need a fucking break. I'm just gonna teach decolonial studies for like a couple of semesters. So now I'm doing a class about hip hop as decolonial, like decolonial art. And we're actually, next week when I go back to Montreal, we have the director and producer of the film about Kanye's unraveling. It's called In Whose Name. They're coming to do the Canadian premiere of the film in my class on November 6th. So it's a full circle moment for me as a professor to be able to do this.
So one of the subtitle of the talk is being real, right? This idea of power, and I feel like this thing could have very easily been this like eureka moment. I know how to do this now.
It was at first, yeah.
Yeah, like what did you do with that power?
I rejected it. I had to, because it was like, thank God I didn't have Kanye in my class, because I would have had him the week that he was ready to go against everyone, right? And I would have lost my job. In a way, it taught me that like you don't really want to go viral all the time.
You live by the gun, you die by the gun.
Yeah, you do. It's really like, what do you want from your art? And all this informed this album. At the end of the day, it was all like, you know, I kind of want to stay humble, you know, and ironically, I chose the name The Narcissist as an artist, but it's like, I want my art to stay humble and like free of any, like not controversy, but free of any of what the world wants out of an artist, you know? And, you know, I can announce a Drake class next week and it'll go viral, but it's like, what do I get out of that? Nothing but trouble. I'll get their trolls and their drama and their baggage. That actually, the responsibility that I place in being a professor, I use that same responsibility, intention as an artist. I always say my teaching practice is part of my artistic practice. And they have the same intention and intentionality in the work. And some of these artists don't really think about that responsibility, right? Like when you're that famous, you forget that you have to be responsible in a very different way. And I think I'm very grateful that I'm here at this level to be able to do work and move the way that I'm.
I want to go to the next one.
What do I say about this one? This one was like at a juncture in my music career. And I live in Montreal, Canada. Obviously, I'm in the Canadian music industry, which is #Canada so white, right? And I got the opportunity to, you know, there's a big Indigenous history in Canada that has been erased, right? And as an Arab and an immigrant, I had to kind of, in order for me to understand my place in the land, I had to really study the Indigenous story and history and what was done to the Indigenous people and the similarities in colonialism that and how that affected my motherland and Palestine and our people generally, right? So I got offered this. It all happened very serendipitously. My DJ is Indigenous from Ganawage, which is the reserve right outside of Montreal. And he's been my DJ since day one. He's the guy whose radio show I went to and rapped for the first time. He became the tour manager for a tribe called R.E.D, which were an electronic Indigenous group out of Ottawa. And when they came to visit Montreal, Yasiin was in town, Mos Def was in town, and Action Bronson got canceled because he has a music video where he put a girl in his trunk. So the festival hit me up and was like, oh, you know Mos Def, he's in town. Can we get him for a show? So I call Yasiin, I say, yo, they want to book you. He said, I don't have my music with me. Why don't you do a show and I'll come up on your set? So I brought him up on my set, and a tribe called R.E.D had a set that night, and we jumped on their set and did a freestyle on one of their songs. And then he went up with Kendrick, and that moment went viral on the internet where he did All Right with Kendrick in Montreal. Next day, they invited us to the studio, and we recorded this song. A year later, Yasiin was in Cape Town, and he had tried to renounce his American passport and do a global passport, and they basically locked him in South Africa. So when we had to go shoot this video, I had to fly to Cape Town with Muhammad, who's asleep right now. We went and shot this video together in Cape Town, and it's about you know, erasing traditional lines separating nations, because that's what hip hop did for all of us. So this video was the intersection between the Indigenous of Canada, of Turtle Island, the Black American experience, and the Arab North American experience meeting together over this music.
We are the Halluci nation. Our DNA is of earth and sky.
Bismillah. Hey, showing living by the G code. What the is fleek though? Don't ask them, what do he know? What I forgot is better than whatever they remember. Never mind, I'm off it, it's quiet form. Time to put the temper tantrums to the quiet corner. Hush, that's enough, said the ruler. No suckers allowed to break bread or asunder. The daylight, lightning and the thunder. The sun, moon, and stars and the hunger. Abundance in bundles, blessings and troubles. Towers and tunnels, views and valleys, waves and peaks. Streets you from, son, planet Earth. And ain't scared of no Mars attack. What type of bars is that? Stay off my chat. I'm out they corny riot garments. Top 5, dial on and on them. Superfly, slicker, top pro. Equals diving on them. You why you lying, homie? You won't play with my emotions, smoky. Big chief, heart rate, big beat, B-E-Y, Yasiin, straight jacket, come clean, big said it was a dream, now it's a living thing, with you and living kings, I mean it, I mean it, Yassin and Yassin in the R.E.D, I mean it, original nation, with Pansala, the I mean it, straight jacket, come clean, Yassin and Yassin in the R.E.D, original nation, with Pansala, we're true and living, you know we're true and living.
Confronted by the ally nation, alien nation, the subjects and the citizens see the material religions through trauma and numb. Nothing is related. All the things of the earth and in the sky have energy to be exploited. Even themselves, mining their spirits into souls sold. Into nothing is sacred, not even their self. The ally nation, alien nation.
Emergency on planet Earth. The currency is murder, you a man of worth. They say the day is coming, drumming that you can't reverse. Watch the banner burn before the cannon burst. Don't chase an illusion, the nation halluci. Hallelujah, taste of the future, the people, the shower, the pistol, the coward, the trace in the suture. Lonely martyrs, magic carpets, dirty blankets, Coca-Cola, soul controller, holy waters. Middle East mode, sand glorious. Cheat code in Babylonian, the Orient. My superhero got the people power. Yassin and Yassin, you should heed the hour.
With you and living kings, I mean it, I mean it. Yassin and Yassin in the R.E.D, I mean it, original nation with Pansala, the I mean it, straight jacket, come clean, Yassin and Yassin in the R.E.D, original nation with Pansala, with true and living.
We went and we premiered this video, or when it got nominated for Best Video of the Year that year at the Much Music Awards. I was sitting next to Justin Trudeau and like Leroy Cohen's in the audience, and Tribe were doing like the opening ceremony for the Junos, which is like the Canadian Grammys, right? And it was a very surreal experience because I was with the guys and they were feeling tokenized at the awards. And like you're sitting with the prime minister, and then I go to the dinner and I was the only Arab guy and the only Muslim guy in the room. And we ended up winning an award that night, but like the funders of the award are the people that funded the video. So like it just taught me a lot about kind of the infrastructure of the industry at this, which is, for me, this was like a spiritual moment. The things that happened when we filmed this video, and everybody said, you're going to go to Cape Town, it's so dangerous. We had the most spiritual experience on this trip. Like,
Praying.
yeah, and when we landed, my friend Saul, who was the producer of the video, was wearing the Muhammad Ali jersey in the video. When we landed, Muhammad Ali died that day. And he came out the plane with that jersey, and I was like, yo, Muhammad Ali just died. And then Yasiin called me, and he was crying, and then we went to shoot the video, and then we missed a lot. And this was my directorial debut, so I was like learning how to be a director, right? And we ended up missing the schedule. We were late by like 45 minutes, and we ended up shooting in the Corniche, in that scene where you see them pick us up in the truck, and then we go to the sandy area. And then the next day we get the newspaper, and the path that we walked from Bukap, which was the street in the area where the Muslims, the majority of Muslims live in Cape Town, we got to be on we got the license to shoot on the street with the mosque. And Muhammad Ali he prayed at that mosque, and then walked from the mosque to the exact spot where we were on the Corniche. So like there was something spiritual guiding us. And then that night we went to the beach. When we wrapped up, we dipped our feet in the water, and a kid runs up out of nowhere, and he's wearing a Montreal Canadiens jersey. And it was just like this intersection in life where I remember I cried that day because I was like, this is so like serendipitous. And then for it to become this viral Canadian musical moment, it meant so much less to me than the physical, spiritual experience of making the art that we made. So it taught me a lot about the value of the art that we made,
Amazing. Do you ever give advice? I mean, at this point, you are one of the OGs in the scene. Hip hop from the Arab world 20 years ago wasn't as popular and as mainstream as it is. When people come to you, like 25-year-old, very eager, social media savvy, understand the algorithm, they have their strategies, they have everything, they know how to accumulate clout and followers. But maybe aren't as sharp on the artistic side and haven't figured out both sides of the coin. What advice do you give to them when it comes to managing?
I've given many artists advice and been called like a spiritual advisor in the back for many of the artists that blew up. And they didn't listen. And I'm glad Dave did it because they blew up. No, but I mean, they didn't listen in the sense that I think my advice was never to sacrifice your spirit. And I think in order to garner the kind of attention that they garnered and the money that they took and made, it requires a certain sacrifice. And I always came with the warning. I didn't say don't take the money, but I said if you do take the money, you know you're going to have to X, Y, and Z. They didn't believe me. And then when they came back around, they X, Y, and Z. And I think it's a different era now because we came up in an era where, I hate to say it this way because it really makes me sound like an OG, but like we came up in an era where if I rapped like you, then I did myself a disservice and I would discredit my work. And there was a certain emphasis on originality, and there still is in hip hop, right? But I think generally now in the arts, it's very much about memeable and viral moments and people, it's a TikTok dance every other day. So you can't TikTok dance art. So I just, that's really it. I think there's a different language to every era, and the medium dictates how you make art. And we didn't make art for the internet. We made art for the sake of like real life physical existence. So it's a different era, and I can't take that away from them. But yeah, they didn't listen.
Tell me about this project.
So after I put out To Be an Arab, which is still kind of the interesting thing about making an album all physical is that the lifespan of it is a lot longer. I know how many people have bought this album and how many people have heard this album, and it's very hand to hand. So now when I go do shows, I have the vinyl and I'll sell those vinyl and people will leave with those albums. And those are the only people that have that album, right? And it took me 3 years to make this project. With this new project, No Smoking Allowed, I made it in 3 months, right? In my bookshop. Every day after I had a shift, I would close the door and record 2 to 3 of the songs. And it's all produced by Buddha Blaze, who's my DJ, my friend who introduced me to a tribe called R.E.D. And it's very much about my relationship to rap music, like my love and hate relationship to rap. The image is the burning of the American Pavilion in 1976 in Montreal, which was part of the World Expo. It was burnt due to an electrical fire that caught, that it really went crazy. And it's a metaphor for the current state of the American empire and how American culture is not what it used to be, in the sense of its power is slowly dissipating and global culture is becoming more centralized in the global sphere, right? And its impact. And No Smoking Allowed is like a super rap record. So this one is out everywhere digitally. We also put it out on vinyl only first, but then out online. And it's just almost like a flex. It's a 24-minute rap exercise. I rap myself on this project. Yeah, super rapidy rap record. Yeah.
What's the difference between like what feels like a meme, a fully vinyl only project and product versus something that's supposed to be, is designed to literally just go everywhere? What feels more memeable?
Definitely like the internet stuff, like this for me was a return to like the analog. I came up in Abu Dhabi in the early 90s, mid 90s, having to get my Irani homie that works at Liwa Center to order these CDs from the States and bring them in illegally to his cousin's suitcase and sell them to me. Like that's how I got Mobb Deep, Hell on Earth. That's how I got ATLiens. That's how I got Jay-Z's first record, or Illmatic. They all came to me not bootleg, but like illegally in Abu Dhabi. And I would read the shit out of the liner notes and print out the lyrics, and like that's how I learned hip hop, So for me, this project was like a return to that. Like you really have to soak in a full narrative to understand it. Whereas with the internet, I started feeling like you're just throwing things into the void. And if your intention is to go viral, then you literally have to craft the art for that purpose. And, the DSPs and the places where you stream music and you consume music, they don't value art in the way that they should be valued. Every million plays you get $30 or whatever. So for me, this was a way of re-centralizing my value as an artist versus this is like a freebie. This one's like, here, I know I can out rap all of you mofos, right? So.
Yeah. Okay, so I played this at the beginning, but I want to play a little bit of this. This is from your live show at Joe's Pub. And I think it's this is the first time I ever saw you live. And when I saw the show, I was amazed at how much of a visual performance it was. So I want to play a little bit of the beginning and then.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. How do you turn this thing on?
Narcy, I have mapped out your inner journey to be an Arab. Let us begin.
Here comes a change, another change, another change, another wave of change. I hear what? The blood. Seasons about to change. The earth will never be the same.
To us, to liberate our country, to have dignity, to have respect, to have our mere human rights is something as essential as life itself.
Why not just talk?
That's kind of conversation between the sword and the neck, you mean. Any talk between a colonialist case and a liberation movement.
But despite this, why not talk?
Talk about what?
Talk about the possibility of not fighting.
Not fighting for what?
Not fighting at all, no matter what for.
Yeah, people usually fight for something and they stop fighting for something. So you can't tell me even why should we speak about what?
Talk to stop fighting, to stop the death and the misery, the destruction, the pain.
I talk that arrogant Arabic TED talk, live from New York, United Nations Arafat headscarf. Download download the message on desktops. There's a spy in your Tesla. Divest from the rest. I said what I said. They turn our baby's bone down and they sell it as Exxon. My modest breath spray the Musk, assassinate Elon. This whole music game is like CENTCOM. What a wonderful world with a dysfunctional swirl. Beautiful struggle, ugly compassion. People pushing countries to factions. Corporate luncheons and rations. Generation I can't get no satisfaction. Abundance and sanctions, stop yummy. Splash shorty like a crash test dummy. So cunning, just show them the money. Man, shut an island. Brother wildin', can't reach me anymore. I burned that bridge like rummy. Sun wild in the west. 3 times and it's sunny. Embrace heaven like a shaheed. Live from Yom El Qiyamah. War crimes on your feed. I don't play the game like a ref. Pull a race card out on Wolf Blitzer. Rap misfit best midway. Read through our leap of faith, bitch, it's kismet. Take everything with a grain of salt like Nusrat. That's why you suspect. I don't trust nobody anymore, man.
You ain't gotta draw that sword alone.
New York, how you guys feeling tonight? Everybody feeling good?
That was the first show I did after October 7th. Like you pulled me out of my dark stupor of internet life, right? So like, I think with this album, when I started touring it, I wasn't performing it as much. I would bring these interventions, which I did at the show. I brought Omar, I brought Nadina Ruby for Sudan, I brought Nico for Latin America, I brought Hamid Sinno for Lebanon. So I would have my show be intervened by my friends that are from these places that are affected by the same forces that are affecting Palestine, you know?
One of the things that's so amazing about that performance, and if you guys want to watch it, it's online, is the visuals. I remember watching and be like, who's doing these visuals and what is coming first? Like your consumption, like this deluge of photos and videos and moments, and what's coming first? The videos, the audio.
But for me, I don't make my music to be a musician, if that makes any sense. Like, I make my music to make art. Like, I almost make like visual art with rap music attached to it. So the intention of most of my music is for it to sit in a museum eventually. I'm crafting a visual practice to eventually make a film. Like, that's really my end goal with the creative process. So I think when I wrote this song, I knew I wouldn't want to be in the music video. And again, there's a few collaborators that I work with in terms of visuals, and that was me and Abdulism's having conversations like, how does it feel to experience the genocide in real time without us exposing people's bodies? What is the mediatization of this experience without us using people's bodies souls being removed from their bodies? And it's really watching all these white men sit at tables talking and pontificating about what a word means and what. So we just transposed everybody that's been talking at us, including our friends that went on platforms that we didn't agree with. And so that's really what that video was about. But, a lot of it is like processing. I think a lot of the time with the internet, we don't take the time to process the information. We let it wash through us. And one of the most important things I do in my practice is process the things that come through me, because they're going to make me sick if I don't process them. They're going to sit in my gut. They're going to sit in my heart. They're going to sit in my brain. So my practice is really to unload and cleanse myself of the heaviness,
You're auditing all the...
Yeah. Yeah, the medium is the message, man. Yeah.
Okay, let's open up for some questions. If you guys have any questions in the audience, I have a microphone for those questions.
Mikey, microphone.
Any questions in the audience?
This is always my least favorite part.
All the way at the top, there is a one and then two.
Hamid, I know you have a question you can ask later.
There's a question right here. Go ahead.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Reem.
Hi, Reem.
Very interested in the video you played of the Iraqi man dancing. It was very physical and lovely. I was wondering what you can say about Arab masculinity at the moment, and if you were ever familiar with the Algerian film عمر قتلته الرجولة. because I find that a lot of the clips that were shown today are very reminiscent of that film.
I don't think I've actually watched that film. I got to be honest with you. But to answer your question, I think that I have like two ways of responding to that. I think Arab masculinity or patriarchy has definitely like, fed into our problems as a community. I mean, obviously these are learned behaviors, generationally learned behaviors from men in all men in all positions of power in our world, in our sphere. So I think like as a generation now, I'm in my 40s, but I think people that are in their 20s are now relearning the understanding of what that means and the power of that. I think that's very important because we do have to, there's a book that I always suggest to younger artists who I talk to, especially the male ones, is The Will to Change by Bell Hooks, which I think is a very important book as a man to read. And then the second answer to that is, I think that the Arab male has been erased in public fodder. Like when they talk about what's happening to our communities, the Arab male is either painted as the one in power who has a legacy of power, or is not even considered in the story of numbers anymore, right? When they talk about death counts or they talk about victims of war or victims of any challenge that we have in our community, the men are erasable from the story. So we are in a very strange position where there's no middle ground for us as an existence, right? So I mean, it's complicated. It's relationship status complicated, right? I hope that answered your question.
There was one up there, and then we'll do it in the middle.
Hi. Hi to both of you. Yasiin, my name is Layla Tayyib. I have not met you, but I have been a fan for 20 years, so it feels a bit like I've met you. I teach performance studies here, and last year, for the first time played a piece of yours. I played the video of Fatwa in my music and Islam class. And one of the things that struck me in showing it to my students was really how much context I had to give for all kinds of little details of references, from the orange jumpsuits in relation to Guantanamo and all these kinds of contextual details. So I'm wondering if thinking about the kind of, if you can sort of think back to that long ago and how early pieces like that come up still in your life, if they do, like how you see younger people receiving them and how you think about kind of the work of contextualizing that has to be done in relationship to, your work like any other art.
Yeah, I mean, those videos definitely come up at borders when I cross them. I'll tell you that much. Still, to this day, they've become up. They're almost like, here's my passport, here's my music videos. In the video, the R.E.D. video that we showed with Most Def, the fact that I'm wearing orange in that video was a sublimation of the jumpsuits that were in Fatwa. In a way, we wanted to take that color scheme that's presented and like remove the power that they had put on it and give it a new meaning, which is why at the end of the video, we pray and we smile together, because rarely do you see Muslim men in orange jumpsuits praying and smiling together. Usually they have bags on their heads and they're unable to pray together. So that's what I did as an artist to kind of reference back to the beginning of my works. But when I teach classes now, and I usually show pictures from Guantanamo or Abu Ghraib, and I juxtapose them with the opposite spectrum when Iraq was 10 years later and the American journalists were getting kidnapped by whatever force was in power at the time. And my students don't know what Guantanamo is. My students are 18. So when 9/11 happened, they were not born, right? So I think that some of these things have been lost, which is in a way important because they can be free of any of the shackles that we had to battle with visually. But at the same time, I feel that sense of erasure kind of decontextualize the current moment in history. And I don't think they're separate from each other, right? So I think we have a job of educating people of the history that led up to what we're witnessing now as a community, because I do feel like they're, it's all one big story.
Amazing. I just have a follow-up. in that video, did you dye your beard? Your beard.
I currently dyed my beard.
Beard is so in that video.
And no, that was what my beard was like before I stressed out during the pandemic and it turned white.
Wow. Dark.
That was youthful me, Mikey. Thank you so much for pointing that out. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for this lovely sort of discussion. So I just wanted to ask you, obviously the music is very political and all that. I was just curious at what point because you said you don't produce music to be a musician, and so I was wondering at what point is it the politics motivates you, or at what point does the politics come in to the to the thought process? Is that kind of like the driver? Just I mean I there's the whole debate of like artist politics. Art is not political, and obviously your work is political. But I'm wondering what motivates you, that kind of artistic process.
I think as I learned to become an artist, I was a politicized person. Like I said, I'm from Iraq. I started making music in 2006 as a solo artist. So we were in the throes of the war, and then it wasn't like the world gave us a break. And I was the primary Iraqi voice in North America in the hip hop scene. And I kind of, out of all my peers from my generation, I pierced through hip hop the most efficiently, like through the culture, while remaining outside of the industry model of the art. Because anytime I was put in an office in front of an A&R and offered a deal or some sort of structured mathematical financial equation to my artistic creation, it was always a sacrifice to my identity, and I refused it, right? So to answer your question, I had no choice in the beginning of my career. And then I think in the middle of my solo career, when I did an album called Space Time, which is when I really like delved into a personal space of my life. And that album has Yasmin Hamdan and Mashru' Layla, and it was about my grandfather passing away and like the realizations I had about generational loss and what my grandfather lost, being he was the mayor in Basra in the 50s. So like tapping into that history and putting it into my music. And then I went into internet world during the pandemic, which was right after that album, and started talking about meme against the world. And now when I came back to work on this project, we're back at square one again. So the real world informs my work. I can't separate myself from it because I'm not an industry artist. I'm a multimedia artist. So, and I have a sense of responsibility being where I'm from, right? And if I deviate too much from it, I lose the meaning of the character that I've built in this space, which is the man falling into his reflection, the narcissist, right? So I think like I just sway with the world. I go with where the world is taking me, and I obviously make comments on the work. So yeah, I don't shy away from being a political artist. Matter of fact, it's like it's my duty, you know. Will, the real rap or Arab rap OG, is in the audience actually.
Jaddo.
Iron Sheikh.
Yeah, man. Brilliant stuff. We're very lucky to have you presenting to us. Personally, just as a fan of yours for a long time, this beautiful evening so far. I'm sorry to ask such a I don't know if it's a good question or not, but I'm curious how you think about humor, and especially in your evolution as you are moving themes, you're moving at different points in your trajectory as an artist. But it seems like humor is always like a little bit in the background if it's not being foregrounded. And you deal with heavy topics, both the political and the personal. So I'm just curious, like how intentional are you thinking about humor? And humor has many different layers. I mean, the exhibition around memes really in many ways is about humor and how we live with it. I'm just curious how you think about it as an artist, what it does for you, what you find it doing for your work.
I think the humor is a way, as Iraqis, we always had, like in the darkest days of the war, while we're trying to move our families out of the war zone and like losing everything that we had that was of personal value, there was always this like memeable, funny, you know, when the electricity was getting cut, they wrote a song called Ingata. Like there's all these like real, the way we've dealt with life is humor. Iraqis are super funny, even in the darkest moments of our history. So that's always been present in my personal life, being an Iraqi. So when I started making work, I realized the entryway for people who don't want to hear our reality is humor. You pull them in with a bit of comedy, and then you show them. And also in the most absurd moments in history, I laughed out loud, right? Like I remember when Saddam was executed, it made me like I didn't know how to process it. In the most traumatic moments in my personal life, I would laugh. Like it was like a defense mechanism that I had built in, right? So that immediately fed into my work. And like the characters that I play in my music videos, the way I, you know, even the dancing Guantanamo men, instead of having just Guantanamo men sitting behind me, they were dancing to the music. And that makes people laugh and question why they're laughing, right? And I think that question is the purpose of my work, is like I want you to really question your as a viewer, what is your intention behind your reaction, right? Because most of the time they consume us and they don't process their consumption. I think that's part of the process for yeah.
Great. I think we have a couple. We have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Roba, how you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
A lot of your work is about Arab identity.
Yes.
So we live in a moment in time historically where Arab identity is being globalized. How do we translate Arab identity globally without diluting it?
Well, that's Muhammad's answer for you, so please put your hands together for
I didn't ask Muhammad the question, no.
I think we were having this conversation yesterday. I think now, you know, in the West, it's very easy to dilute complex identity into consumable matter. And I think in imperial colonial thinking, the homogenization of diverse communities is the easiest way to overtake a community. So I think in this dangerous time in which simultaneously we're witnessing like a mass execution of our people, while there's a mass awakening to our community and like an acceptance of our community, which we shouldn't strive to be accepted by a mass. We should just
Acceptance is one thing, but
yeah.
supported now. Really.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I think what we were saying, or what I was saying to you yesterday, was that we have to start sharing the diversity community, and how that is what makes us quite unique as a Arab population. You know, my friends from Egypt are very different to my friends from Palestine, to my friends from Sudan, to my friends from Iraq, to my friends from Saudi, to my friends from here. So like that, the specificity of every one of our countries is a beautiful way for us to start showing how much cultural value there is to us in the history of the world, right? And it's like, how many times I gotta tell people, oh, I'm from the oldest civilization, and I'm from Babylon, bro. I'm Sumerian, bro. Like I shouldn't have to say that in order for you to feel like you want to peer into my community. So I think in the globalization of Arab, there has to be a natural creative force that you can't tailor too much, that has to slowly find itself. And then we just need more. We need more films. We need more, more, for lack of better words, content, more voices, more diversity. And like what Afikra does is amazing to me, because it's a archive of these stories and the diverse stories that have been going on for, how long have you been doing it for now? What, 10, 15 years? 11 years. So like, these are the things we need, archival processes. And that's like, letterbox films. We need more than one film about Palestine in the 30s and the 40s. We need more films about Iraq. We need more. And not in relation to like the Americans invading us. We need very normal stories about people on our lands and our countries. That's my answer to that.
You want to ask?
We talked about the artist doing soulful work, and that usually, especially in like music, art, it gets very systemized and selling a propaganda. So how do you protect yourself from that? Because it's really clear when you see artists who start off being creative and then they start becoming a product of the system and just selling certain ideas and energies, I would say.
I just stay out of the system. I mean, I'm at an age now where it's like I don't seek mass attention, so I can be very intentional in my work. I think it really depends on what you want. Do you want fame, or do you want you want to be comfortable in your spirit? You want to be able to sleep at night. And I always chose I want to sleep at night, you know? And I think like it's really that decision. Some artists are meant to be commercial artists, to be consumed by people and to make X amount of money and to be able to do your thing and live your life. And some artists are meant for the cultural work. So it really all depends on the person. You know? You can't impose that on anybody, but we need both at all times, I think. Right.
So I have a question. Were you ever faced where some of your work had to be taken down?
Yes. You mean like censored?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know some artists who were just they disappeared from everywhere.
Well, I thank God I haven't disappeared from everywhere. I'm still here. But yeah, my work has been censored in the States and in this region. So yeah, I think nothing has like disappeared. If anything, I've taken music down because I no longer feel the way that I did when I made it. But censorship is present all over. I mean, if you see what's happening in America now, more than ever, it's hard to be a political artist, right? So yeah, you're welcome.
We got one up there, then I think we had one over here. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you guys for a great conversation. I was thinking about the political imagery that you use, especially the news clip, and how when you watch it, you recognize so many images, and it's like you realize how much it gives the internet kind of weightiness based on how much you recognize certain visuals in the way that when you scroll, you don't really get it. And then thinking about your song, like, where it's like after every, beat, there's an exclamation, like, right? And it's sort of, it shows you how much you're engaging with, you're liking horrible images, right? So I'm curious about what your relationship to the internet is and how you manage.
Yeah, I think I have a love-hate relation. I wrote a whole book about my phone, like a love-hate relationship with my phone. It's called Text Messages. I don't have a good relationship with the internet in the sense of like I can't control my consumption. But the way that I deal with that is through my artistic process, right? There's a certain guilt to like not watching what's happening that you feel and like being ignorant. And for me, the craziest part about the internet is the juxtaposition of the mundane with the real and the consumable, like sneakers and shit like that. So like a mix of all that for me is what sometimes I'll come out my phone, like literally I feel like I was in my phone and I come out and I'm like, what? I just spent $300 on the internet buying like Yeezy clothes and watching political things that are occurring, right? So to answer your question, I don't know yet. I'm trying to learn, and I constantly delete social media apps off my phone, and then I'm like, oh, I got a message, Muhammad. You know what I mean? Like I'll re-download it, and then so I just take breaks. And I love being on planes because I can't scroll social media. That's my escape. Airplanes and prayer. Like those are the only times I'm not on my phone, you know?
Hi, Zafina. I'm a freshman here. So my question is, I really enjoyed the conversation and the session. So I think I'm speaking for a lot of students when I say that in our courses and all of these seminars, we're exposed to a lot of, the context of power and internet and all of this in a very negative context. And we're just constantly thinking, oh, like the politics around the world aren't getting any better, of course. So what is something good that we should be expecting in the next couple of years,
I think you got to look at it like this: like the internet is an extension of our collective consciousness, and in our collective consciousness as a people, there's positive and there's negative. You know, there's a duality in all these things that we do. Everything that we have will ultimately have a negative and a positive effect. It's just human nature. And if we're creating extensions of ourselves through technology, which really is what it is, a phone is an extension of our visual nature, and then the internet is an extension of our internal consciousness externally that we all share. So you can choose to see both, or you can choose to see one. I kind of sway between it. Some months I feel very negative and my algorithm is super negative, and then you got to train it to have more positive stuff in it. You know, like if I go on TikTok at night, it's really crazy. It's like 3 Atlas I aliens coming, like Yom Al Qiyamah studies, and you know, crazy like fails. And then during the day, it's like dance TikTok. So like, I think you have to like regulate the times that you're on social media, maybe, or you know, there is no negative and positive only. I think you have to accept both and embrace both. Right.
How does it transition? Is it a
no transition? No transition. I'll brush my teeth. I'll get on TikTok, and then it's like, what?
Over.
Yeah, like no way, bro.
All right, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming.